Back in August, Edward and I went to France to look at houses, and over the course of 3 weeks, we saw approximately 13 houses. I've actually lost count of how many, and we actually even saw a couple of them more than once, the ones we were interested in. And over the next few weeks to a month, I'm going to share some of our favorites with you, including the one you're going to see today that is one of the ones we saw twice. It was on the market until very recently, so stuff moves a lot more slowly in France, but check it out and stick around to the end of the video where I'm going to share with you how much it cost and where it was so that you can get an idea of what your money can get you in France. The house was on one of the main streets of the town leading to the town hall, and the facade had wood shutters, which are one of my must-haves for our house in France. You can see us here walking down onto the main floor of the house, which is very open concept with a living room, dining room, and kitchen. The house was mostly renovated, but parts of it did need a little bit of work. One of the things I liked about the house was the exposed wood beams and the exposed stone that you saw in a couple places, including the kitchen and here in the living room behind the fireplace. So if we did want to expose more of the stone for that character, it's something we could do. This is the laundry room / second bathroom that you go into right as you come into the house off of the main entrance. The house itself only had 2 bathrooms, so this would definitely need to be renovated into a full bathroom at some point, but it had laundry and a toilet and the utility electrical things in it. This house was one of the few houses that we saw that had a sizable yard. In theory, you could definitely put a pool in it, but it's pretty narrow, so I don't think I would. Plus, there's a lake in town that you can swim in, so you don't need it for the summer months. Off the back here, you can see there's a creek at the very back of the backyard down the valley. And then looking back towards the house there on the right, you can see the neighbor's yard. So we would probably need to include some sort of privacy screening between the 2 houses. But again, you can see the facade with the shutters. And here we have a little water storage place, so you can water the yard. You can see the eaves troughs kind of drain into it. I liked this vine arch in the back that sort of frames the back of the house. Back inside, you can see the kitchen, which is very cute and charming, but is definitely not modern. It has all that you need, a dishwasher, stove, fridge, but eventually it would probably need to be redone to be a little bit more functional with a little bit more counter space. They were selling some of their furniture at the place, including this piece, this island piece that I really loved. The owners were Dutch, and so their style was a little bit more Scandinavian, which Edward and I both enjoy. The house was a bit of a mix between French and Scandinavian, which is great. Upstairs, the house had 3 very large bedrooms and 1 full bathroom. I really liked the paint details going up the stairs. They felt very folky and charming. The whole house was incredibly bright. There's a ton of light coming in through the windows. Here is the bathroom. It's also sort of an older bathroom. It would need a renovation eventually, but it was clean and had all the things you could need: bath, shower, toilet, all in the same room, importantly. And here is the hallway window, which actually has a view of a Cathar castle. So that's pretty cool and definitely a tourist attraction. The first room next to the bathroom was really spacious, and it had a couple built-in cupboards that were deceptively painted but clearly had not been renovated, so those would need some work. But the room was really large. It had a king-size bed in it, and obviously room for closets as well as a desk, and still room to walk around, so it's definitely livable as it is. I loved the high ceilings and the wood flooring, but it could also be updated in a way where you wouldn't feel guilty for doing it up because it had just been done. Walking into the second bedroom, it again had a king-size bed and room for a couch and a wardrobe and a desk. What you can't see is behind this wardrobe, there's actually a door that joins it to the room beside it, but obviously you don't need to use it. Here's a look over the front street. And now going into the third bedroom, you can see that the beams have been covered up in here, and it actually has like a type of shiplap effect on the walls, which was really uncharacteristic for the south of France. And once I learned that they were from Scandinavia, it made a lot more sense. Here you can see that actually what its purpose really was to be a quick renovation fix for covering up the old plaster walls without having to remove them. So you can maintain the original wallpaper but update the space. Again, eventually something you'd probably want to redo, especially to add some insulation to this stone house, which didn't have any. Edward really liked how minimalist this space was, and it did make it easier to imagine yourself in the space. And there are definitely a couple pieces of furniture that I would have purchased from the owners had we decided to buy it. Going up to the third floor, there is a huge loft space that feels very Nordic because of the paneled walls, and it smelled like cedar up there, which was lovely. You could easily fit another 2 separate sleeping areas up here, or a lounge, or perhaps a music studio, which is something we're looking to create for Edward in whatever property we buy in the south of France. You could also, in theory, put another bathroom up here and kind of turn it into its own suite. Here you can see the original stone of the house that could be exposed in more of the house. I really like the texture of that natural stone. You can see the original beams, some skylights for extra light, and again, a TV viewing space, a huge, huge space. That then opens up to a secondary outside space. A pretty common thing in the south of France is for people to pull back the roof on part of their third story to create a rooftop terrace. And in this mountain village, the terrace had an amazing view. It was set within the valley, so you could really feel the Pyrenees around you. This terrace was definitely a big selling point for the property. And down in that valley is where the swimming lake is. So that was a house in Puy-Vert in Aude in the south of France that we went to see. Puy-Vert is about a 40-minute drive south of Limoux, which is a little bit south of Carcassonne, and it is really in the beginnings of the Pyrenees Mountains. It is a beautiful location, but it is a very small town, and ultimately we were worried about it being a little bit remote, and we didn't pull the plug. But it did make me realize how much I love being in the mountains, so when we go back and look, that is something we're considering. When we saw this house, it was priced at 210,000 euro, and because it stayed on the market for a while, it actually got reduced to, I think, 190,000 euro last time I saw it. But when I went back to check today, it's no longer there, which to me says that it actually sold. If that price point for a 4-bedroom house with 3 floors and an excellent backyard intrigues you, then maybe this is an area of France you want to check out too. Please hit the subscribe button to be notified of my next videos. Over the next couple weeks, I'm going to be sharing some of the other houses we saw in this area, and some of them are still for sale, so there might be something there that you're interested in. Until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.